Namaste. Hi there, it's me, Stacey Lei. Welcome to yoga and thank you for joining me in my little tiny cottage in South India. I'm so glad you're here today. You know, with all of the traveling that I've been doing recently, I've been sitting much more than usual and my hips are feeling a little tight and cranky. Now, hips don't lie. They'll let you know right away if they're not happy. So we're going to, together today, we're going to work on a little bit more flexibility in our hips, releasing tension, both physically and emotionally, and we'll also strengthen the muscles that support our hips. So I'm so glad you're here. Let's build happy hips together. All right, so for today's class, you will need a mat or a carpet is just fine. I'd also like you to have a yoga block or a thick book and a small hand towel. This is going to help you stay a little bit more comfortable when we move down to the mat, but it's not mandatory. I would like, though, for you to have a yoga strap. Now, if you don't have a strap, it's okay. Grab a belt. Even a belt from your robe would be just perfect. Once you put all your yoga toys off to the side, let's get warmed up together. Step your feet much wider than your hips. Inhale and sweep your arms up with your thumbs pointed back. Exhale, sweep your arms down. Thumbs point towards your body. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last time. Exhale. Now bring your left hand to your heart and your right hand on top of that. Say to yourself, self, I'm so proud of you for showing up today. The next 29 minutes are all about you. Inhale deeply and exhale. Place your right hand on your hip. Sweep your left arm up over your head. Across your left leg, across your body, and side stretch. Now step wide, squat down, and let's do this on the other side. Cross your right leg, stretch, and for the most part, your toes will be pointed towards me, for the most part. Big squat. So today I've got a nice blend of traditional and non-traditional exercises to work on our hips. But what I can tell you is that our warm-up will be dynamic, meaning that we're going to move, we're going to increase our circulation, get you warmed up so we could really get deep into our hips. Last time, please. And sit down low. Draw your tailbone down, feel your lower back stretch, feels really nice. And then come back up, draw under, and then lengthen your spine 2 more times. Draw down, using your abdominals to scoop your belly and lengthen your spine. Last time. And now hinge your body up. Okay, feet are still very wide, hands on your hips, soften your knees. Let's make some hip circles. I always feel a little bit silly during this exercise, but that's the benefit of working out from home. We can practice those exercises that look a little bit silly, but we could do it to our fullest because we're all by ourselves, nobody's watching. You could roll your hips like no one's watching. All right, come back into the center. Now step your feet a little bit closer so that they're only hip distance apart. Let's sit down chair pose. Sit and sweep your arms. Just hold here for 3 breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Last time. Place your hands on your thighs. So chair pose or dynamic is called a squat. You'll squat and then extend one leg back behind you and squat and extend the other leg. So keep practicing dynamically. Now, if you're having any issues with your balance, Of course, you could bring your fingertips to a wall or a chair, okay? So take care of yourself today. Let's have 2 more. And then a little change. Whoops, I'm turning back towards you. Take your leg out to the side. Once again, a little bit of a balance challenge. So take another contact point if you need it. Let's just have 4 more of these. So we've moved our femur bone, warmed up the muscles around our hips. I think I gave you 1 extra set. All right, plant both feet. Let me teach you how to heel pivot. So a pivot is when we move our foot, but the whole leg moves right up to the hip socket. Okay, and a heel pivot is when you slide across your heel bone. So pivot front, pivot side, pivot front, pivot side. And if you feel yourself wobbling, just place your fingertips onto a chair or onto a wall. Pivot front, pivot side. You could do any arms that you'd like or no arms at all. This is all about legs. Let's have 2 more. Last time. Okay, now toes front, step wide. Now we'll try a different type of pivot. Lift your left heel, so the heel lifts up, and then you'll pivot and bend your knee. So you see the whole leg moves. And then pivot, come back, pivot, and come back. Now as you pivot and turn, you'll start to migrate your toes out very wide. So you'll start to face the side of the room, face the side of the room, pivot, lunge, pivot, lunge. So all traditional yogic postures, but kind of blended in a non-traditional format. Let's have 2 more of these. Pivot and turn, pivot and lunge. Now this time, pivot and hold. Okay, check out your body position. Your toes should be pointed towards the side of the room, your knees pointed in the same direction. Now sweep your arms up overhead, interlace your fingers, and then point your index finger up towards the ceiling. So that's called the steeple grip. Now draw your tailbone down and engage your glutes, your gluteals, your butt cheek. So this way you'll feel the stretch along your hip flexors and quadriceps. Now a nice deep stretch over to your right side. And then return back to center. Sweep your arms down. Pivot your back foot to find warrior feet. Now, if you do a lot of yoga, you're familiar with warrior feet. 1 foot forward and 1 foot is sideways. Sweep your arms open. This is the warrior 2. Let's sink down into a nice low warrior 2 and then stand up straight, both legs straight. Bend and straighten. Now check in with your outside foot. I'd like you to press the pinky edge, your little pinky finger, little pinky toe, press the pinky edge of your foot into the mat or carpet so that your whole foot stays connected. This is your last one. Bend and straighten. Now bend and hold. Okay, place your front hand onto your front thigh and then reach for your block. You'll place your block right at your ankle and then place your right hand onto the block. Now I've kept my block in the highest position. So bend your front leg and then straighten both legs. Now, if you don't need your block in the highest position, feel free to go lower if that feels good to you. Bending and straightening. It's a little bit non-traditional. You can bring your top hand to your hip. Let's have 2 more. And this is your last one. Now keep your legs straight. Draw your top hip back. Square your shoulders off with your hips. And then you can place your hand on your rib cage if that feels good to you, or you can extend your arm up overhead, point your thumb back, and then turn your eyes up towards the ceiling. Now, if this feels comfortable and if you feel stable, you can fold your top arm and twist a little bit more towards the ceiling. Inhale deeply. Exhale a lot. Reach your arm up again. And now fold down towards your block. Get yourself stable and bend your front leg. You could remove the block, we'll be using it on the other side. And once you hinge your body up, pivot your back foot. Your back heel stays up. And then you'll take 2 steps to come forward. So 1 step, 2 steps, stand up tall. Use another contact point if you need it for balance. Otherwise, lift your left foot up. This is our single leg mountain pose. Please flex your ankle a lot and pull your toes towards your nose. And now externally rotate your leg and place your place your ankle onto your thigh, sitting down. This is your figure 4. My. I feel this in my glute muscles. I hope you do too. And remember, any contact point will help you to stay a little bit more stable. I'm more focused on the stretch than I am on the balance exercise right now. And now stand up and you'll cross your ankle right over the other. So left foot is on top. You could stay right where you are. I'm going to turn to show you. So you're crossing over like this. And then sweep your arm up and over. Get a nice deep side body stretch. So this is a modified banana pose. And you're facing the side of the room. Lift your body up, sweep your arm down, uncross your legs, and step your left leg back. Find your stability, and then pivot towards me. Hands on your hips. So sink down low, goddess pose, and as you come up, heel pivot. So turn your toes towards me. Pivot and sink, pivot and stand. Pivot and sink, pivot and stand. Let's do 2 more of these. Heel pivot. Last time. Heel pivot. Okay, just a heel pivot. Lift your right heel up. Pivot even more towards the side of the room. And then sink down, high lunge. Drawing your tailbone down, engaging your glute. Using a contact point if you need to assist your balance. Sweep both arms up and interlace your fingers. Work deeply into the webbing of your fingers and then point your index finger up. Side bend to your left. Inhaling and exhaling. Lift both arms up, sweep your arms down, and then you'll pivot your back foot so that we have warrior legs. And you'll lower, bending your front leg, and then you'll lift, straightening your front leg, lower, and lift. Now, if you're feeling that your front knee is tender, you don't have to go as low as I'm moving, or you could separate your feet a little bit wider apart. Okay, this time we'll come down, take your block, and place it right in front of your ankle. Place your left hand on your ankle. We'll practice the exercise that we practiced before, bending and straightening. Bending and straightening. So you should feel a nice stretch in your hamstrings. As you come up, you're moving your weight into your back hip. Let's have 2 more of these. Last one. And now keep your legs straight and rotate your torso so your shoulders and your chest are pointed towards me. You could place your hand on your rib cage. And remember, you don't need to keep the block high. If you're flexible enough to come down lower, please feel free. And then you can reach your arm up, look beyond your fingertips. Trikonasana, the triangle pose. You're welcome to stay here or fold your top arm and rotate your shoulders towards the ceiling. Inhale deeply. Exhale, say, I am releasing the tension in my hips. Reach your arm back up. Fold your body down. Bend your front leg and remove the block. 1 or 2 hands on your front thigh. Hinge your body up. Turn towards me. Heel pivot. So your feet should be wider than your hips. Bend, heel pivot out, heel pivot front, heel pivot out, heel pivot front. So just dynamic work along with your heel pivots. This time, stay down low. Feet are parallel. This is called the bear pose. So lift your hips up high, lengthen from your fingertips out through your tailbone. If you prefer to have some support for your lower back, feel free to bring your hands to your thighs. But do your best to stretch through your spine, either 1 arm or 2 arms if you can. Take a deep breath in, a long exhale. Hinge your body up. Okay, let's return to our high lunge. And then take 2 steps forward. 1, 2, and then lift your right leg. Single leg mountain pose or single leg lift. Just find your stability here. Engage the muscle in your seat, your glutes, to keep you supported. Now we're strengthening the hips. Flex your front foot, please. And then externally rotate your right leg and place your ankle onto your thigh, sitting down into figure 4. A deep breath in, a long exhale. Remember, holding on for support if you need it. I know you're over there taking good care of yourself. Please stand up and slide your foot down, crossing one leg over. So your right leg is crossed over your left, just like this. And we're moving into a modified banana pose. You'll feel the stretch from your hip all the way up to your fingertip. Sweep your arm down, uncross your leg, step back, turn towards me, heel pivot just one more time, and let's practice an upright skandasana. So just a little movement, side to side. Hold this one to your right side and pivot lower down to your knee. Take your time. And we'll stay down here on your mat. If you brought a hand towel into your space, this is a great time to use it. Just fold it a few times and you could rest your knees on that hand towel. It's just a little cushion for you. Place your hands underneath your shoulder, both shoulders, and lift your left leg up. Draw your knee into your chest and then extend. We'll do this 4 times. 2 more times, just like this. Now bend your knee and keep it bent and just find some nice easy circles. So moving in circles in one direction. And then when you're ready, reverse your circles, move in the other direction. press your knee back down. Fold your feet. You can see my toes are curled under, right? Fold your feet just like that. Press up into downward facing dog. Just stay here for a second. Lift your left leg high, and then draw your knee in towards your chest like before, and lower it all the way down to the floor. So you're lowering your knee down and sliding your right leg further back. So this is the modified pigeon pose. Your front leg is bent, your back leg is straight. And if you're feeling really uncomfortable in this position, you can place a block underneath your thigh. This will keep you lifted off the floor. It's a nice hip opener. It's not always very comfortable. A change is not always very comfortable, is it? A deep breath in and a long exhale. Okay, fold your back foot, plant your hands down again, and you can either leave the block where it is or remove the block if that's more comfortable for you. Press your body up and come into a plank pose, and then bend your knees down. Folding your toes, just sit back for a second, take a deep breath in, a long exhale. Tabletop, please. Keep the block nearby because we'll do pigeon on the other side. So tabletop, and extend your left leg back, knee to chest. Leg back, knee to chest. I'd like you to keep your spine long and extended. Keep your abdominals engaged. Let's have 2 more of these. Last time. Keep your leg bent, and then your left leg, hip circles. So just making big, wide open circles in one direction. And then reverse your circles. You can place your knee back down. Fold your feet, downward facing dog, so lift your hips up, press them back, we won't be here long. Just 1 round of breath, inhale, exhale. Lift your left leg high, and then draw your knee into your chest, and then place your leg onto your mat. Take your time sliding your left leg back behind you. And then just like before, if it's more comfortable for you, you'll place the block underneath your left thigh. So you just boost your body up onto the block. Now it's important that you don't feel that your lower back is being compressed at all, so keeping a long spine is really smart. Inhale, exhale. Okay, if you're using a block, just roll to the side and remove your block. And then turn your body towards me. You can remove the towel as well. Draw your feet together. Baddha Konasana, the butterfly pose. Now, if you're finding that your knees are very high, then I would suggest placing the block or that big book back behind you, and you can boost yourself onto the block. Using a block in the butterfly pose is always going to give you a little bit more space for your hips. And then you can place your palms onto your knees and give some gentle assistance, right? So be really kind to yourself. You can be firm and kind at the same time, right? So some gentle nudging with long, deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. Okay. If you're sitting on the block, I'd like you to boost yourself off the block. So lift yourself up and lower down to the floor. You can remove the block. You can unfold your legs. Bring your legs to side saddle so that we can lay down onto your side and then onto your back. You want to have your belt or your yoga strap nearby. I've saved the best towards the end. I guess that's all relative, but I've got some favorite stretches coming up now. So reach for your heels. Your knees should be bent just like mine are. And now just lift your hips. We'll stay here for a few breaths. This is a strengthening exercise. You'll feel it in your hamstrings and your glutes. Lift up nice and high, and if your knees are feeling tender, you could just shimmy your feet a little bit further away from your body. But if you feel okay, then nice distance is just arm length, so just barely touching your heels. Now lift your hips up nice and high, and then also engage your abdominals. Last breath here. All right, soften your muscles, lower your body down. Now, you'll take your strap, your yoga strap or your belt, and draw your right knee into your chest, and then you'll just place the strap underneath your foot. And then you'll straighten your leg, pushing your heel towards the ceiling. Now your goal, hopefully your belt is long enough to do this. If not, that's okay. If your belt is pretty short, you can hold your hands up close to your leg, close to your foot, just like this. But otherwise, slide your hands down so that you can rest your shoulders on the floor. And you can bring your hands close together and hold on, but try not to white knuckle. Okay, we don't want to grip too hard. Remember, it's yoga, so you just want to breathe. Lengthening your spine along the floor. If you're more comfortable, you could straighten your other leg. I'd like you to take your leg across your body. And this might feel a little bit tight for you, so if it feels tight in your IT band, just breathe. You don't have to force it, right? Just find your edge and breathe when you get there. Be still for just a few breaths. Well, hi, Foxy. Hi, sweet girl. What's going on, little mama? Foxy has been so good here in India. She's been my great little travel companion. And then take your leg back to the center and then over wide to the side. Now, if you start to feel that your left hip is lifting off the ground, you've taken your leg over too far. We don't want that. We want to keep your hips anchored to the ground. And then return your leg back into the center. Fold your leg. Fold your left leg as well to support your lower back, and let's remove this strap. All right, let's do the other side. Place your foot down. Wrap the strap around the bottom of your left leg. Now we'll begin by just finding some hamstring length, especially after that strong bridge pose that we just did. You should feel this releasing your hamstring. And you're welcome to keep your right leg bent like mine is now, or you could straighten your leg if that feels good. Take your leg across your body and Excuse me, Fox. And it's important to flex through your ankles, spread your toes wide. Pulling your toes towards your nose. Give yourself a round of breath. And when you're ready, you'll take your leg out wide to the other side. Now, I'm a little bit limited here. I'm cheating a bit. My leg is resting on the wall, but hopefully you're taking your leg out wide. My little cottage is a little bit smaller than I thought, but for now it's home. Making sure that your hip is anchored down to the ground. Draw your foot back in. Slide your right leg up and remove the strap. Now, the yogis tell me, the yogis here in India, that the most important posture that we can practice every day in our yoga practice is the Shavasana. So bring your arms by your sides, let your toes drop out wide, and just take some nice deep breaths with yourself. And I encourage you, please, to stay in this posture 3 to 5 minutes after this video ends. So just be here breathing, grateful that you showed up, noticing the difference in your hips. They're a little bit more circulated, a little bit more flexible. Your muscles are just a little bit stronger than they were just 30 minutes ago. Congratulations, you're moving in the right direction. It was an honor and privilege to be your guide. I hope you had a good experience with me, and I hope that you join me again soon. Until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay vibrant.